Today we're going to do the soil texture by feel method, and you're going to get pretty dirty, so be prepared to get dirty today. You're going to need this flow chart and this reference material as well. So the first thing we need is a soil sample. And so the beginning of the lab has a flow chart that you'll refer to, but let's go ahead and do stage 1, the ball test first. Take about a handful of soil, about a tennis ball. Make sure that you want the mineral portion of the soil, so dig down a little bit, 3 to 5 inches, before you get your soil sample. You can use a trowel or a plastic spoon or a big shovel, or if you're going to use like a kitchen spoon, make sure you sterilize it in the dishwasher really well after you are done with it. But recommended is a garden tool if you have a garden tool. So I'm going to go get my soil sample. Okay. If you have any worms, I just dug up some worms, so I put the worms back because worms are great for soil. So now you want to break it up. I got a little bit of thyme in here from my herb garden. I don't need that. So number 2 says spread on a paper towel. I'm using a paper plate. You can use a paper towel or a paper plate. And you want to get rid of any roots, any twigs, any rocks in it. All right, so, and then break up the clumps, just like we did for the jar lab. All right, so we're gonna break them apart. Now we're gonna take a handful of soil. Got some roots, get rid of my roots. And we're gonna wet it just a little bit until it makes putty. Okay, so I think I put too much water in it. I did, so mine's too muddy. So I'm gonna add more soil because what we want is a putty type of form. So be careful, you have to add just little bits of water at a time. And so I have here a ball. So this is a nice putty ball. Okay, so if you can form a ball, you don't have sandy soil. If it doesn't form a ball, it's sandy soil. Now, in where we live in Southern California, sandy soil is not common, so it's unlikely that you have sandy soil unless maybe you got your soil sample from a creek or a riverbed. All right, so I'm gonna take a picture, attach it, and go on. Even if you have sandy soil, and you've identified it as sandy soil, I still want you to do the next 2 stages. So the next one, stage 2, is the ribbon test. So we're going to take our ball of soil and we're going to see how much of a ribbon we can form before it falls off. So you're going to take it in your hand, found a twig, and you're going to push it out and see what happens before it falls. So my ribbon was about 4 centimeters here. But my soil is also not quite putty. It's still a little bit too wet. So I'm gonna make it a little bit more like putty. Okay, so I'm gonna try it again. Try it several times. And you wanna determine if you have a weak ribbon, a medium ribbon, or a strong ribbon. So I'm gonna push it and see how far it goes before it breaks off. So this was about 6 centimeters right here. So this one indicates a strong ribbon. It's 2.5 centimeters per inch, 2.54. So about 1 to 2 inches would be about 2.5 to 5 centimeters. So that would be a medium. And then above that would be strong. So this one was about 5 centimeters before it broke off. So I think here I have a strong ribbon, which makes sense because our chaparral soil does have clay in it. So that kind of indicates clay. So take a picture of your ribbons, paste it in, and go on to stage 3. Now, if it doesn't even make a ribbon, you have loamy sand. If you've identified it as loamy sand, I still want you to try the next method. So if you identified it as sand for stage 1, it's still sand. Don't call it loamy sand now. I just wanted you to practice with these other tests as well. So now if you have figured out you can't make a ribbon at all, you have loamy sand, then you can identify your soil as loamy sand, but still go on to the next one, even though you've already identified your soil, because I want you to get practice with the next one. Okay, the next one, you're going to take this a little bit in the palm of your hand, and you're going to add water and you're going to swirl it around. And you're going to feel the texture of it. Is it gritty? Is it smooth? So here's where we need to go to that first flow chart. So go back to page 1. My papers are getting dirty. And you're looking at the bottom. So about halfway down, it shows you your ribbons. And it says, is your ribbon, does the soil make a weak ribbon less than 2.5 centimeters before breaking? If yours is yes, then you're going to follow this column down. The next one is for medium ribbon. Does your soil make a medium ribbon 2.5 to 5 centimeters long before breaking? If it's yes, you're going to follow this middle column down. If it's longer than 5 centimeters or 2 inches, you're going to follow this one down. For mine, it was probably a medium ribbon. So I'm going to follow the one time I got a strong ribbon of 5 centimeters or more, but the other ones that I made were shorter. They were about 2.5 to 5 centimeters. So I'm going to follow the middle column down. So it says excessively wet. So this time you want to get a lot of water in here. Okay, so now we're going to rub the soil, except I want soil more than water, so I actually made it too wet. So now I'm going to rub it. It actually feels very gritty for me. So I would say I have sandy clay loam. If it feels very smooth, I would have silty clay loam. And if I was gritty and smooth, I would say I have clay loam. But because I have a lot of grit in here, I would say it's sandy clay loam. And that is how you do the mud lab. So take a picture of your nice, lovely, dirty hands and insert it. And then you're going to make a claim as to what you think your soil is and justify it with the data here that you did in the lab and the flow chart. It may or may not match this. So when this is done, the soil texture in a jar, we'll see if you got the same results as this one, because you are determining what type of soil you have in both methods. You are not an expert, so an expert would feel all the different types of soil and they would know the difference by feel. You're not an expert, I'm not an expert, and so we're doing our best guess here. And so hopefully it matches this, hopefully it comes close between those two. Real soil scientists, they have much more precise measuring. Farmers have much more precise measuring, so they can get the exact type of soil that they have with more precise tests and with experts who do this all the time. All right, so that's how you do the mud lab.